Macroevolution. There's much dispute on this subject. Macroevolution has long been accepted by scientists as the overwhelming evidence of it became, well, overwhelming really. But what about macroevolution? As I look around in forums and news groups, I notice that the biggest problem is that the definition of macroevolution is not a sturdy one in discussions. Creationists often raise the bar, so to speak, on what exactly is necessary to call something macroevolution. Um, Among scientists, though, there is no dispute on the subject. There are many forms of evidence for it, and I'm going to show a few in a moment. First off, though, many dictionaries have explanations of the word macroevolution that doesn't really explain it. Again, I'm going to look at the Henderson Dictionary of Biology for the correct term. And what do you find in this case? Macroevolution. Evolutionary processes extending through geological time leading to the evolution of markedly different genera and higher taxa. Now using this term as the correct one, for this is the one accepted in biology, around the world, we'll see what the evidence for such things are. First off, the genetic code of all species. In DNA, there are a lot of possibilities of genetic codes for proteins for certain functions. The fact is, though, every day thousands of sequences of genetic code are done on hundreds of animals, bacteria, fungi, yeasts, etc. All of these sequences are a test of macroevolution, and let me explain why. We find certain proteins, certain combinations of bases that all living forms have. There are sometimes slight differences in the production of such proteins or the combinations of bases to produce certain proteins, but the general idea is the same for all living things. This core of genetic information shows evidence of macroevolution, and because it is found in all living creatures, living things. And it is refutable. If any sequence of any organism is found that does not contain this core, it will immediately prove it's not part of the evolutionary line of descent. Such a thing would completely disprove macroevolution, though up to date none such a sequence has been found yet though. As for the second part of evidence, transitional fossils. These are gigantic proof of macroevolution in action. We find fossils of bird reptiles like the Eoraptor, the Heterosaurus, the Byapeosaurus, the Archaeopteryx, the Confuciusornis, and many more, which all show a transition from dinosaur to bird. We find reptile to mammal fossils like the Pelycosauria, the Therapsida, the Cynodonta and Mammalia, showing transition from reptile to mammal. We have human-ape transitional fossils aplenty, land mammal to whale fossils aplenty as well. Some creationists like to say that all these are not transitionals, but they haven't brought up a single good argument on why not. Instead, they just nitpick on the tiniest details and quote mining other people to make it seem like none of these are transitionals, but until a good argument is come up against why, these are just accepted transitionals. The third point of evidence are the so-called vestigial structures. First off though, a vestigial structure is a structure in an organism that, and I'm quoting this from a biological dictionary, of smaller and simpler structure than corresponding part in an ancestral species. This is awesome, because it throws away the claim that evolutionists say that a vestigial organ, for instance, has no function. Evolutionary biologists do not say that, because if a vestigial organ would not have any function at all, then that could be proof or proof of it never having a function, and never having a function would be a way to refute macroevolution. But onward we go. Vestigial structures show very precisely a being in transition, because these vestigial structures show organs which were fully developed in a previous time in a species, but are now slowly becoming less important in a species, and this is clearly a sign of macroevolution. Some vestigial structures are the ostrich wings, with wings that do not make the bird fly anymore, while normal birds can fly with them. So the original use is gone, even though they do have a function, but not a flying function. The blind cave salamander, with eyes that do not see anymore. The dandelion, which reproduces asexually but still produces pollen, the normal sexual reproduction of plants, which is now unused in the dandelion. Wisdom teeth in humans, for instance, they show remnants of a herbivore history, yet now in 1/3 of all humans are malformed and cause problems. Pains have to be removed, or in some cases don't even form at all. A falsification of vestigial structures, for instance, would be to find one which has no possible use in an ancestor. This would mean a creature developed an organ or structure without any purpose whatsoever. Something creationists say, evolutionists say. But this would take down the macroevolution theory completely. None such structures are found, though. There are no vestigial structures that in an ancestor did not have a complete good function. This concludes my post. I hope those who viewed this enjoyed listening to it. And thanks to Talk Origins for a lot of the information here. And also thanks to lots of articles and Wikipedia and Hender's Dictionary of Biology. Have a good day.